Hey Hustlers, it's Mark Roberts. Welcome to another episode of Film Hustlers. I want to welcome all of our listeners from all over the world. We really appreciate you. Wanted to remind you to review and rate our shows on whatever platforms you listen on. Want to remind you of our fantastic sponsor, extrememusic.com, for all of your music needs. Amazing scores, amazing needle drop music, very flexible and controllable in terms of length and instrumentation. It really is an amazing tool. Check them out, extrememusic.com. Today on the show, we have the amazing showrunner, writer, director, producer, David Kendall. Enjoy the show. This is going to be special. For the new listeners, and we have new listeners, guys.
Yes.
Friends are sharing. I'm not sure if friends or filmmakers are sharing. I'm not sure how people are finding us, but they are finding us. It's every week. Like, we're increasing by a lot. It's noticeable. Like, we totally this last week I really started to notice. I mean, you're getting phone calls, right?
Dude, I got a phone call today. I got a text message. Yeah, I took my phone number was up there. It said contact. Yeah.
Oh, was it? That's probably because you signed us up. That's probably what happened.
Is that what it was? Yeah. I got a pitch this morning from Albuquerque.
Oh, wow.
From Albuquerque. I looked at the phone. I was like, Albuquerque.
Nice.
Guy pitched me a doc, and the other day somebody sent me a couple decks, and I was like, who's this?
I do want to say the Film Hustlers podcast is about the hustle of making your own content. How to throw your hat over the fence and get it all done, right? That's what we're about here. This season, our 4th season here at Hustlers, we're going to make our own movie. From idea to raising the money to finished product. I think the reason we're doing it is because I'm tired of telling people that you can do it. Yeah. Like, let's do it. And you can hear it unfold right here. If you'd rather wait and see what happens, perfect. You listen to the podcast, you see how we do. We may fail, by the way. Someone may say, like, I don't want to give you money for a movie. If you want, who knows, right? But if you want to do your own project right alongside us during this, you pull out your pen and pencil.
Pen and pencil, Roberts. When are you gonna learn, dude?
Or you just
what year is this? 93.
Or you just save the show to your phone and listen to it over and over.
There you go. Save it and then you can do the notes on the phone. That's what they do in 2022.
But if you have questions as the process is going along, you slide into the DM, right? Send some questions and we'll cover you. In addition to talking about film on our show, we also have amazing guests who tell us how they arrived in Hollywood and became successful. It's meant to inspire and also to make it clear that anyone can do it if you follow your heart and have a little luck. So today we want to welcome David Kendall, the director, writer, producer. You do it all, right?
Round of applause.
I do things, yes.
The most dedicated dude I've ever worked with.
No doubt.
Even today he came prepared.
I like to be thorough.
David Kendall, he's a writer, producer, director. He's worked in television since people watch shows on actual television.
There you go.
Okay. He's produced and written for iconic situation comedies like Growing Pains,
Amazing.
Boy Meets World, and directed classic programs like iCarly, which is a huge favorite in our house, Disney's Hannah Montana, and what else? Melissa and Joey, which is another favorite.
Yeah, that was
of ours.
104 episodes.
Did you direct and produce and write?
I co-created it with my friend Bob Young, and I executive produced it. And along the 104 episodes, I directed about 8 of them.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, that's a lot of episodes.
That's 104 episodes. That's a lot of television.
Yeah. How many episodes would you say you produced a year in a 12-month period?
In a 12, a season is anywhere from 22 to 26 episodes, a normal season.
That's the way it used to be. Is it still that way?
Well, in Melissa and Joey, it was odd because it was basic cable, so the formula was a little bit different. Our first season, we did, I think we did 30 our first season. Jeez. And then our second season we did 15. Oh. And then Melissa had a baby, so we didn't do any for a year. And then our season 3 was 37 episodes. And then but it was 2 seasons. It was like 2 years, but they called it 3A and 3B because if you make it a 4th season, they're salary bumps. So it was season 3A and 3B. And then our 4th season, which was really our 5th season, we did 22.
Before we rewind, often you watch shows that you love, and there's lots of episodes, and sometimes you think it must be really hard to come up with idea after idea when all of those episodes are being shot in one season? For instance, 22 episodes in one season is a lot to come up with. Is there an arc to the whole story?
It depends. Like now that we're in the streaming world, you want arcs because that keeps people, next episode in 3 seconds, keeps them hanging on. In older times, you would do shows that weren't necessarily, I call them wacky one-offs. You just do something that just lives on its own. But sometimes you're trying to do an arc, take a kid through high school, and so you'll do periodically touch on the story arc. But, it's a little bit different with every series depending what the needs are for the network or the streaming service. But it can be a bunch of different things. But, yeah, it's tough. That's the toughest part. Coming up with good stories that are solid, that will support your characters, that will have conflict, that you can put funny in. That's the hardest part. If you have a story and you have strong characters, the jokes kind of fall out by themselves a little bit. But the hardest thing is coming up with good stories.
Yeah.
What about picking, because writers' rooms, how many writers are in a writer's room? It depends on the show.
It depends on the show. It depends on the budget. You can have 4 or 5 or 6, 8, 10. So I like a room where it's 6, 8, 9 people, so that you can see everybody's face around the table, so that you're all kind of together. There's some shows where they have bigger budgets. Well, they'll have a separate story room or a separate joke room. I think it's nice to have people together, but people do it differently.
It's an amazing thing you do. I mean, you're super talented. I've had the pleasure of watching you work, both in television, in a series.
And you hired me to do a movie,
comedy,
which I'm really looking forward
and
to
then
seeing.
we did a movie called Steppin Into the Holidays, which comes out this holiday season. I don't want to say December or November because we don't know yet, but it is for Lifetime. It does have star Mario Lopez and Jana Kramer. And it was directed by David Kendall, and you did an amazing job. You were the most prepared person I think we've ever seen in our life.
Incredible. You're like most dedicated guy I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He went for one walk for like 30 minutes on a Saturday and then went back to work. That was it.
That was true.
That's true,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And I had to walk to the drugstore, but, otherwise, yeah.
Let's go back in time for our listeners, because lots of successful people have been on the show that have told us their story, and we want to get an idea of how you got your start.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Philadelphia, and the idea of jobs in the entertainment business was like, jobs on Mars.
Yeah.
It just didn't look like anything that anybody that I knew did or that my family knew did. It was just totally foreign. But, I went to college. I went to a place called Wesleyan University, and I studied film. And a bunch of us said, I bet we can do this.
Yeah.
And the first place I went after college was New York. And I worked in a lot of small jobs here and there, just trying to learn production. And I always wanted to direct, like everybody wants to direct. And they hire more writers than they do directors.
Yeah.
So I always like sitcoms. I always like being funny. My joke is I'm very fortunate to have found a way to monetize being a smartass. Thanks for the laugh. Good.
That's a really good point, though. If you're a smartass and everyone's always telling you, maybe you're a writer.
Yeah, maybe you can do something with it, not just, make your friends laugh. Yeah. So this was in 1985. I was living in New York, and through social connections, I knew someone who was an agent. And I said, I'm going to have to learn what Hollywood's like at some point. So I came out and for 2 weeks, and I had a spec script for the Cosby Show, because this was 1985. And when you say Cosby now, it has different meanings than it did in 1985. So I had an episode of the Cosby Show, and I came out, and I didn't know it was staffing season. I didn't know anything. I'm just standing on my friend Ed Decter's couch. I went to Wesleyan with Ed. He's still a good friend of mine. I talked to him yesterday. He's had a great career as well. And I got a meeting with somebody at Warner Brothers who had read my script, and a guy named David Sachs, who was an executive at Warner Brothers, who said, it was like the shortest meeting. I didn't know how short. I walked in, he said, I like your script. I'm going to pass it on to producers. I said, okay, now I leave. Yeah. So, and then
is that what it was?
Then yeah. That was the meeting.
You got all dressed up.
Yeah,
the best.
I found my way over into the valley.
Practiced everything in your head. Yeah, you're going to tell him.
I drove to Burbank the day before so I wouldn't get lost. And
nice. That's prepared,
dude. That's prepared. That sounds like David.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, that's true. And then the producers of Growing Pains met me. And I'm on staff at a sitcom. I'm here 2 weeks, and I'm on staff at a sitcom.
That?
And it was, you got to think of 1985, a sitcom starring Alan Thicke, the late, wonderful Alan Thicke, didn't look like it was going to be a winner. And so the show's programmed up against the A-Team. And there was a review in the Los Angeles Herald that said, "I pity the fool that schedules Alan Thicke against the A-Team." So we outlasted the A-Team and the Herald, by the way.
Wow.
So
exactly.
and
right?
so
The Herald got outlasted,
yeah. So
right?
I was on Growing Pains for 6 years. And I had great mentors. A guy named Dan Gunselman was the head writer and just the executive producer, and a brilliant, hilarious man. And another executive producer named Mike Sullivan. These are both good friends of mine. Came from the network, so I learned, producing from somebody who was at the network and a writer who'd been on some really great shows. And it was a great group of people. And when you have a show that's a hit, and the first season we had 13 episodes and then a back 9, and then we had, as a hit, you don't have to worry so much about job security for a while. Right. So we could think in terms of 22 shows, 26 shows. And so it was really nice sitting in the writer's room, not having to sweat for every rating point and make sure that we could get the pickup. So I was there for 6 years, and it was great. It was really, like a undergraduate and graduate school in terms of everything. And, one year I'd be the guy who would be do a lot of drafts. Like a freelance draft would come in, and they throw it on my desk and say, you have 3 days, make this work. Or some years it would be, I'd be the guy that go to editing. So the show's 3 minutes long, bring it to time. So, these guys were great mentors for me. And I left there really knowing half-hour comedy and multi-camera inside and out. And also, that's where I got a chance to direct, too, because Growing Pains, if you guys are... do you guys remember Growing Pains?
Of course.
Yeah.
Huge
there
fan.
was a spin-off called Just the 10 of Us.
Right.
And that was my first directing gig, was on Just the 10 of Us. So that was the first time I got my DGA card, for Just the 10 of Us.
Wow.
So I left there... with a great lot of knowledge and experience, and I think it was 142 episodes of television. And,
wow.
It was great.
So
it was great.
The Cosby Show that you wrote on Spec.
That was just, I sat down. I'd never written a spec before. I watched the first season of Cosby. I did outlines from the stories that they did so I would understand structure. And I said, I think I have an idea for a show. And I did an outline, and then I wrote it. And then it was just so incredibly lucky that I came out during staffing season when they were looking for young writers, when they were staffing a family show. And it was great.
So you wrote this because you had an idea, you watched the show, and then that was sort of your calling card. You said, I'm a writer, and here's my spec.
Exactly. I mean, what my story is incredibly rare. And, I my first spec script landed me a staff job on a show that became a hit and ran for 6 years. That's like lightning striking. They get 7 times in the same spot.
We've had the pleasure of watching you work, not only close up on our movie, Steppin Into the Holidays, but we also worked together on The Expanding Universe of Ashley Garcia.
I love that show.
Which was beautiful and amazing, and you and Seth Curlin did a wonderful job on it. Mario did a great job on it. It was just a beautiful, fun. I mean, I don't want to leave anyone out. Everyone did a great job on that, but it was fun.
Watch it on Netflix, everybody.
Yeah, check it out on Netflix. Paulina Chavez is amazing. What I wanted to find out from you is, how do you decide when a joke's not working, or how do you know if it's flat or not? Is it the audience? Is it you?
Well, it's a combination. I mean, you usually can tell. It's almost pretty democratic. If everybody's laughing in the room, it's funny. But I mean, there are exceptions where sometimes it's mean-spirited or out of character. But you can tell. You can tell if it's working, and if it's not, you can tell that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Well, the writers, you guys all read the work, right? Before you do a table read, like when you guys have a joke, do you guys go, "Hey, this," you read?
Well,
the joke is and see how it goes.
The way it usually works is that an individual writer or team of writers will do a draft, and then the executive producers will give notes to that writer, and then at some point after a draft, or it depends on the schedule, the script will go to the writer's room, and then led by the executive producers, you'll do a rewrite. And sometimes it's a heavy rewrite, and sometimes it's light, and sometimes it's a real restructure, and sometimes it's just a light pass. But that's really, and then sometimes as you get into it, good ideas occurred, and you just follow where the good ideas are going. But you usually have an idea what the structure is, and
if the joke works.
And if the joke works.
Yeah,
and if the joke works. Yeah.
It was always very cool to sit there and, even on tape day, there would be a joke, and you guys would come to the pool of writers and say, all right, this, can we find something else for this moment? And in a matter of minutes, a bunch of things would get pitched, and then something would get picked, It was almost like being on Family Feud. They'd all get together. They'd be like, no, that's funny. That's fine. Okay, go. Tell them that. Come back.
That's true. I never thought of the Family Feud aspect, but it's true.
And also, Kendall Steve Harvey is like, bingo, there it is.
Yeah. But also it's when a writer's room is really good, everybody's pulling for the same cause. And it's less, first of all, you want to go home. If the joke's good or if the story works, it'll help you get home. And then it's great when it's there. And if everybody's secure enough to root for each other, it's just a great thing. Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows. I've done tons of shows, and in terms of just the quality of the work, the cast, I love that cast. And working with Seth and Mario, man, that was a blast.
Yeah, it was super cool to see you guys do your thing. One thing that you're going to run into if you're a writer, if you get on a show or whatever, is executives, right?
Yes.
So you write a script, and then you guys, as writers or executives, producers, decide, okay, this script's ready to read. The cast comes in to read it, and after that cast reads it, there's a meeting amongst the executive producers and writers, and then the network gives you notes. Do you hold anything dear, or is any idea changeable?
Well, the Ashley Garcia experience was unique because we had great executives.
That's true.
And they loved the show, and they understood the show, and they were always supportive. So it was like, hey, okay, that does make sense, or yeah, we can do that, or man, that's really great. I mean, we had terrific executives in terms of the support of the show. It was really not always that way.
Yeah. Is it not always that way?
Not always that way.
No.
A lot of times, not every executive, but a lot of times executives really don't understand humor and don't understand what you're trying to do. I mean, the worst thing whenever you're doing a show, especially a new show, is are you doing the same show as what does the network want to do, the same show as you want to do, as what the stars want to do? And so, you think it's about these two people. The star thinks it's about her, and the network wants it to be about the kids. And it's just, you'll be ordering dinner every night for the length of the show.
And you guys all seem to gel about what ideas were working and not working. It always got better, which I thought was really cool. Let's go back. You do 6 years on Growing Pains.
Right.
Everyone Becomes Stars. It's a huge hit. I still remember that show. I used to love that show. And do you come off of that show thinking, this is easy?
Well, not quite, but I did have a development deal after that, and I did not get anything on the air. So it was just, wrote some pilots, sold some pilots. I think I produced one, but nothing got on the air. So that was just...
and what's a development deal, just for people who don't know what that is?
That the network a network or a studio will hire you to come up with pilot ideas and sell shows. So
to them, right? Directly
to them. I mean, if it's with a studio, my deal was at Warner Brothers at the time with the aim of selling to any of the networks. Right, and I had written for ABC for Growing Pains, so I sold a couple pilots to them.
So that feels pretty good.
Yeah, it feels great, but it's just it feels better when you're shooting it, and when you come out the end of your development deal and you don't have a series, it doesn't feel so great.
That's not so fun. So what's the next big step for you?
The next big step was Boy Meets World, which was another ABC family show, and I joined it in the second season, and as an executive producer, and the guy who created it, Michael Jacobs, had some other shows, so I was kind of running it while he was developing other shows, and so that was actually a really fun gig too.
One of my favorite shows back in the day.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's cool. It's funny because Boy Meets World went from "What's that show?" to "Is that still on?" It's just we were never like the big hit in the top 10, but there was a devoted following because kids loved the show because I think we told great stories for kids, and that ran 7 years too.
Wow,
great runs.
I was there. I produced it for 2, and then I came back and I was in the director rotation for the rest of the run.
Wow,
which was fun.
Was there a preference for you? Did you like directing as opposed to producing or writing?
Directing's more fun.
Yeah,
directing is so much more fun. But writing and producing is more satisfying, if that makes sense. My joke is that writing and producing is like parenting, and directing is like grandparenting.
That's it.
I'm not a grandparent, but it's like, you have the kids and you have fun and you can give them ice cream for dinner, and at the end of the day, you send them back to mom and dad, and just like maybe the diaper's full. I don't know. So, but if you're writing and producing a show, it's like every bad phone call comes to you. Everything that's not working, you have to fix. Whereas if you're directing, it's, hey, it's great. It's great. I had a great time. Yeah. So
It's over with. Time to move on.
it's over with. Exactly. See you guys next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good night. Yeah.
So you worked on iCarly, which we loved here.
Yeah,
at
that
our
was
house.
I directed that show. I didn't. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a big deal. Was that fun to work on? I mean, obviously
it was great. I mean, that's
people loved
another amazing cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another amazing cast. That was really fun.
And then Hannah Montana, which you directed as well.
Yeah, I did. I didn't do the pilot, but I did the first 3 when it went to series, and got to work with Miley when she didn't know where to stand or what to do, and she was just so green, but she just had star power. You looked and you said, "Oh, okay, she's gonna like explode."
Yeah.
So
It's funny. That was shot at, where'd you guys shoot that? Was that at, not Gower? It was KTLA.
KTLA,
right?
yeah.
So Lopez, that was the first show I worked on Lopez. We were the stage next to you, ESPN Hollywood, and Lopez used to sneak over there. Come on, Tony, let's go. He'd go to the craft service and raid craft service.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That sounds like him,
Yeah,
actually.
2004 maybe?
that sounds right.
Sounds about right?
That sounds right.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
a great show. I mean, you worked on some amazing stuff. I've never wanted to be anything but a producer. I'm not interested. Directing is so difficult. It's just a hard job because you have to pick everything. Like literally every decision that's made, you have to be on, like where the hands are, what's on the table, it's a crazy gig.
Yeah,
It's a crazy
great
gig.
ride though. It's
Yeah.
really fun. I mean, I had fun every day on our movie.
Did you, Kendall?
It didn't show.
No,
was a lot- it was a lot of work.
You were focused. That was it was a tough
Oh,
one.
I was focused, but
Yeah.
it was really fun.
We
Yeah.
knew
No, it
knew
was
you could
fun.
do
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because in television you have to be on your feet on a show that was only going to be 16 days.
Just because I'm not smiling doesn't mean I'm not having
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
In record time every day, and
We
that,
finished
that was
every
not
day
easy.
early except for the tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did.
which by the way, we should have stayed and shot more. Not that it hurt the movie at all, but on that particular day, the call should have been, "We're going to stay and keep shooting, and we're going to take our chances."
No. When the dudes that live there who don't talk very much to say we're leaving, they were out of there before us.
Oh, did they leave?
Yes.
Did they leave?
I heard, but it's the fog of war a little bit now. Is that the crew says they're leaving at 7?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Oh.
it's,
Yeah, that's what it was.
But we could have thrown a Robert Rodriguez and just said, "Go ahead, leave. I don't need you."
We had that storm shelter that everybody thought was like a Hobbit house. We could
Yeah.
have just went in there.
True.
But I do believe that directing is, I mean, I guess if you like, Trudy, you've directed, and David, you're a director. I think if you enjoy it and you know what the challenge is going to be, maybe it's better. But for me, I like solving the problem behind the scenes. I don't know. It's, I like getting the late night call. I like deciding if it's going to rain tomorrow or not going to rain tomorrow. Those kinds of things. Those kinds of things are more
This guy's
gambling.
saying this right now, David. Dave. When we were in Tennessee, he would come to, hey, Cervecita. He would go and he'd be stressed out. Fuck, I don't know if it's going to rain. What do you think? I go, I don't know. What's it the Weather Channel saying?
That was
I
the
don't
most
know.
stressed I've ever seen you.
Yes.
I was stressed.
Which time?
The last
The
film.
last one. No, there was, when he was
In
praying.
Tennessee.
When he was praying
Tennessee.
in
Well, some of the weather. Also, the day we shot the dance, that was the tornado.
That was
and that
intense.
was like
Yeah.
we had never seen the dance in its entirety.
That was intense.
And it's like, are we gonna get this done before the barn gets knocked over?
And just to give the listeners an idea, what happens is you show up on set. First of all, there's dance routines in this movie, and you can't always get 5, 6, 7 pages done in a 10-hour day and get your dance routine.
No.
I mean, it's a lot to do. But
We had an amazing choreographer.
Spencer Liff was amazing. Yeah, and Spencer Liff went above and beyond. Went
He
to
did.
Tennessee early, picked all those dancers, worked with them, worked with Jana, came here to LA, worked with Jana here, worked with them there.
And the work shows. It looks
Yeah.
amazing.
No, I think it was a great job, but you had a lot to do in a very short period of time, and I don't know if you sacrificed shots or not. I don't know those answers.
A little bit, but
yeah.
that's if you get a friend says if you get everything on your shot list, you weren't being ambitious enough. So
That's great.
you want to try, and there are things I wish I could have gotten, but there's always going to be that.
But to do it, I think to do a 16 days and to have routines in there and to deal with weather and
lot.
tornadoes and rain. I mean, Look, the day that we showed up and it was raining and it wasn't going to stop, art department had to go to work.
Oh yeah, the art department, and I remember sitting there with Samson, the AD, and just kind of figuring out, okay, we can do this, we can kind of do this, we can maybe do this, not tomorrow, but in the next 3 days, and we just kind of in the air made the schedule for the next few days.
Yeah,
you remember that fun?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing to watch because we really did do actually a beautiful job. You did a great job with directing those sequences, and they came out great. But the thing I want to stress is it's never perfect. There's going to be problems. There's going to be issues. You're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes every day. Yeah, absolutely.
No
Absolutely,
way.
I do. That's how that's how show business is. You show up, you wake up one morning, you got a crew of 45 people, and it's raining. And there's nothing you can do except for turn to the people that you're at war with and say, we've got to go inside.
Yeah.
And somehow that inside gets lit, gets decorated.
Well, the art department
gets
turned the
worked
barn
out.
around. Everybody has to see our movie.
You have to watch it simply to know that that barn where Mario does the dance was not going to be shot in the day that we did that.
What's tougher than that? Because look, you got X amount of pages. You got a choreography dance scene. I mean, I guess it could have been worse if we would have threw animals in there, right? That
Yes, it would have been worse.
There were.
Yes.
We did actually.
We shot on a farm, everybody, and there were real live farm animals making their noises. And
There was a lot working against us, but you have to work your way through it. And that's the great thing about having a crew that you've worked with many times is that they all care. Samson, our AD, cares.
Samson Hamlin,
deeply.
our ADs,
Yeah.
was
He
fabulous.
just cared.
Yeah.
It really mattered to him. He was in scenes. Jeff Stearns will take credit for this, but it was Sam who got all those people together on the street when we were
Yeah,
shooting.
we were short of background extras, and the street didn't look very much alive. And Samson goes talking to people, and next thing you know, the street's alive with background crosses and
everywhere.
Yeah,
it is a collaborative effort. Speaking of collaborative efforts, I want to thank our friends over at ExtremeMusic.com. Russ Emanuel and ExtremeMusic.com have put together an amazing array of composers. I'm telling you this because I use Extreme Music for all of my movies. I did 2 documentaries, I did 3 Christmas movies, I did another drama, and I used Extreme for all of them, okay? So the way it works is if I need a needle drop, if I need a song that's going to be playing in a diner, coming off of a jukebox, I go to ExtremeMusic.com. If I need something special for a fun sort of montagey transition, I go to Extreme Music. I wanted something really unique, something a cappella for a movie I was working on for Lifetime. And I went to Extreme Music. I punched in what I thought I wanted, and it came up. So I want you to know that if you are looking to do something that sounds robust and beautiful and well thought out and expensive, you can get it at ExtremeMusic.com, whether it's a drama or thriller, action, romance, they got it all. ExtremeMusic.com for all your music needs. It sounds like when you came out of college and you wrote your spec and you got Growing Pains that you sort of knew what you wanted to do.
I was really blessed. I really was pretty driven to say I want to work in comedy. I mean, it's always I'm not comfortable outside of comedy. It's always what I wanted to do, and was pretty focused on that. And then the Growing Pains set up everything for me. It showed me how to do everything. I went from absolutely no credits, wrote 1 script, and I'm on this big show with people who are super talented training me.
That's amazing.
My mentors said, we don't view you as a story editor. We view you as you're in producer school.
Wow. Pretty cool.
And that's how it works.
people.
Yeah, good people. Good people.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're a good person. I think, look, my wife always says, like, the bank of good faith to my kids. And it's true. You got to bank good faith in this business so that you're able to go through doors and people are able to go like, oh, you know what, Tootie or David Kendall
And I think
Davey
good
Dave.
people is good business.
I agree.
Yeah.
Terrence Winter, who's like one of my favorite writers. He did Boardwalk. He's done a
Yeah,
bunch
of course.
stuff.
It's terrific. Yeah.
I listened to a podcast on him a long time ago, and he was saying about getting a writer's room together. And he said he would much rather have writers that are mediocre who come with enthusiasm and want to be there than a writer's room filled with talent who are difficult to work with. He'll take that any day.
Well, the writer's room, if you have a bunch of people who are just there to get their own scripts and their own lines and their own self out there, that's not going to work. But if you have people who are part of a team who
collab,
it's want to collaborate. But that makes all the difference. I mean, I've been in writers' rooms where someone has written features and is here to the experience and just freezes, because also it's kind of weird and a strange thing to write out loud. When you're in a room, you're writing out loud. You're not kind of in the solitude with the keyboard. So it's a different weird thing. There's some people who are brilliant writers in the cubicle by themselves. So the collaboration writers' room isn't for everybody. It's not like the only way to do things, but for comedy, it's really nice.
What would you say to someone who wants to work in comedy, who wants to be in a writer's room?
Firstly, if you're working in comedy, make sure you're funny.
Well, how do you know?
You'll know.
You'll know.
Has everybody told you that you're
No
funny?
one's told Robert. Yeah, it's okay. Keep producing, Robert.
If people tell you you're funny and you say funny things and people laugh, it's probably a good bet that you're funny. If the opposite, you're probably not funny.
Are you funny because you're just funny, or are you funny because of the experiences growing up in a family that...
Me? I don't know.
You don't know why, really?
I don't know. I mean, you don't. Well, I've said this. You don't look in a writer's room. You don't see a lot of people. I bet he was captain of the football team. I bet she was the head cheerleader. Yeah, I bet he was president of a senior class.
No, that's funny.
You don't see that a lot in the writers' room. I'm sure there are exceptions.
Yeah,
but that's not the people that you see in the writers' room primarily. There's an outsiderness. To it. There's a looking at things a little bent, a little bit from the outside, a little kind of unconventional.
Yeah. Although I suppose you could think you're funny and not be funny.
Yeah, but it's also I think comedy is its own weird thing, and what it's most closest to in a lot of ways is music. If you can't sing, don't try and sing. If you can't carry a tune, don't say I can sing. So I think comedy is a lot like music. You know when you're musical, you know when you can sing, but you should be able to know when you're funny.
Of course.
But and the rest of your question is advice is to writers is write. Don't just say, oh yeah, I want to be a writer. Write something and write what you're excited about, and it helps if you write what you know, what you're familiar with. You're talking about stories that come from your life.
Yeah.
There's always an authenticity if it comes from your life. It doesn't have to be. I mean, Ashley Garcia, I wrote for a show. I was never a 14-year-old Latina growing up.
You weren't, Kendall?
No, I was not. I was not.
Way.
But yes, I know your guys. Look at the shock. You should see how shocked they look, everybody. But you can put yourself in someone else's place. It doesn't have to be a totally lived experience, but a lived experience has an authenticity, and especially if you're creating a show. You need every advantage. Like Ashley Garcia about a bachelor. Do we still say bachelor now? A single guy in his 30s, and his niece comes to live, and they both have very different lifestyles, and they love each other, but have clashes. And we can relate to that. Everybody, I think, has relatives and has tried to get along, and kind of as. Everybody, growing up is not easy for anybody.
No.
And, that's why coming of age stories are always...
Boom.
Shut up.
Boom.
Oh,
I was
boy,
about
here
to
we
say.
go. Here we
see
go.
That's what I'm... He hates coming of age. Robert's
I don't.
Coming of age.
Yes.
This is the biggest debate we have on
Did
this podcast.
I step on a landmine here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no,
Okay.
you did it. You resurfaced what's the truth. I mean, Stand By Me. Did you like Stand By Me?
I think I did.
come on.
I'm pretty sure I
There you
did.
go.
No,
Oh,
look,
you played Juno.
I love Juno. Love Juno. Yeah, I like coming of age movies. I just don't like to produce coming of age movies, I guess is the answer.
You
That's
could have
the
just said
difference.
that 8 months ago.
Okay.
Well, hand
By
to
the way,
fire.
your story, his story is the greatest coming of age. It would make the greatest coming of age movie, but he doesn't want to do it.
What is your favorite joke of all time? Do you have one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, can you tell it?
Yeah, sure. Ready? Okay. What's the very first thing you need to know before you train a dog?
What?
More than the dog.
Good one.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I
I'm
like
going to use
that.
that one tonight when I get home on the kids.
By the way,
And it's very applicable to many things in life, too.
Well, David, I appreciate you being on the show. We covered a lot of ground. One of the takeaways, I think, for everybody who's listening is trust yourself, make a plan. If you're a writer, write.
Work hard.
Work hard. And the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. On the weekends when we were all hammered over at
On the weekends, what are you talking about? We had a bar at the hotel every night. We were drinking
Every night.
Well,
Kendall
we were-
would walk by. Hey, Kenny, what? No, I'm gotta go
I'm
watch
working,
another
I'm working.
Christmas movie. What? We're making a Christmas.
He would just
movie.
walk by and silently judge
Yeah,
us.
he would swing. Hey, there he goes, Kendall. Come back here.
Hey, part of the beauty of making a movie is having a good time, right? I think we all have a lot of fun. But you were great to work with. I think Mario and I, when we saw you work on Ashley Garcia, we were certain sitting behind you watching you work. We were certain that we were going to work with you, and we did. It was like manifest destiny. Let's do it again. But
Another
thank
feature,
you.
David? Are you sticking
Sure.
with the features? Okay.
Sure. Just you guys know this. After you work in this business for a while, the people are so important that you're working with. You're going to show up and work and bust your ass. You want to be next to people that you like and that you get along with and are talented and you can work with. Look, everybody's nodding. Everybody who are listening, everybody's nodding here violently. We're in violent agreement. on this one.
Violent agreement. I will say, working with you was amazing. You're a team player. I think that we made a great movie.
We did.
And I hope people enjoy it. Steppin' Into the Holiday, directed by David Kendall.
And who's in it?
Come on, Robert.
Starring Mario Lopez and Jana Kramer. Dave's in there. Who else do we have?
Yeah.
Who else is in it?
Kendall was in it.
David Kendall makes
I
an
have
appearance.
a brief one there for you.
iCarly Jimenez is in it. Enzo Rodriguez is
Mike
in
Esterman.
it. Mike Esterman is in it.
Sherry O'Terry.
Sherry O'Terry.
Yes.
Mario Cantone.
Oh, Mario Cantone.
We had
yes.
a heck of a cast on this really, really unique and fun Christmas movie. So I hope you guys like it. David, thank you for being with us.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
for inspiring our
Rod,
new
Dave,
listeners
Dave.
and our old
Mark,
listeners.
thank you. Yes.
Thank you guys all, and we'll see you next time on Film Hustlers.
There we go. You got it right, Roberts. That was